It's a very different China today than 8 years ago when the current leadership prepared to take power. Critics may lambast the environmental degradation, forced evictions, the summary quashing of dissent, but the economy has frankly flourished. Even in 2009, while much of the world floundered, GDP growth here was 8.7%. China is now the world's #1 exporter and boasts a foreign reserve stockpile of over $2 trillion and counting.
This is up from somewhere around 200 billion at the turn of the century, so it's a 10 or 12-fold increase. That's not a bad proxy for the amount of new wealth that's been created broadly across the economy.
So China is confident and bullish, and a new generation of high officials is noticeably more assertive than its predecessors, especially when foreigners challenge China's position. This makes for more fractious international relations and tougher times for business. A new-look government will take over after 2012. Smiles aside, China's Communist Party is riven by factional infighting. The red faction, the Hu Wen camp, wants more social policies to close the huge urban-rural income gap, while the blues, fans of the Shanghai model, believe spurring industry, trade and real estate delivers wider prosperity. So as President Hu and Premier Wen enter their last 2 years in office, the Reds and Blues are wrestling for influence, though Blue Xi Jinping is front-runner for President and Red Li Keqiang for Premier. But others are staking claims, at least for the top body, the 9-member Politburo Standing Committee. These include former Commerce Minister, now Chongqing Party Secretary Bo Xilai, and Guangdong Province's top man Wang Yan. Mr. Bo's a blue, Mr. Wang's a red, and they've both launched high-profile populist campaigns on their turfs to rein in abuse of power. Corruption threatens the party's very survival.
Because it is systemic, it's rampant, and almost obscenely colossal in many cases, and it terribly erodes the credibility of the party in the eyes of the citizenry.
With gripping stories of sex and gambling dens, loan sharking, mistresses and murder, the Chongqing campaign in particular has ruffled feathers, as it roped in officials and leading police officers, party members with close connections across the country. For years, they either ran mafia-style fiefdoms here or protected these enterprises for profit. It's not that Chongqing is necessarily worse than other mainland cities, it's just that here, barefaced collusion between lawmakers and lawbreakers was exposed. There's been over 1,200 arrests, with some 80 government officials prosecuted already, one a billionaire. The jails are bursting to the seams, and one of the inmates is the former deputy police chief and head of the judiciary, who somehow owned 4 mansions and millions of dollars in cash and gold. Organised gangs here resorted to muscle and bribery to near monopolised sectors of the mainstream economy, and all this drives up costs for legitimate companies and consumers. Over golf practice, businessman Yang Ming explains how the gangs operate. As a customer, he's free to use any transport firm to ship his factory's textiles to the coast, but no one dares compete with his haulier for the lucrative contract.
These people use the legal enterprises to fund illegal activities like money lending and centres for entertainment. And what makes the most money? I think they earn just 20 to 30% from transport. It's the other things that make the big money.
As for Bo Xilai, his popularity has soared nationwide for launching the crackdown, though detractors bemoan that he's only jockeying for promotion. But this is primarily a law and order issue, ordered from the top, and other cities and provinces are expected to follow Chongqing's lead to smash the criminal fiefdoms.
It's the beginning of a nationwide criminal crackdown. This is the central government's plan. Bo Xilai is both a local official and a senior officer of the central government. He is the commander of the action here, but it was not his idea.
And we have no idea as yet how this will play out. A nationwide crackdown could sever many vital political alliances, even shed light on the business dealings of well-connected families. There could well be, however, a distraction. The next leadership generation is expected to aggressively pursue China First policies at home and abroad, which would rally the citizenry by stoking simmering nationalism. And so for foreign companies operating with and within China, success in this market could well depend on their clear, loyal support.